Boom. And let's see. Okay. Gonna be live in a few minutes, and I am live now. Just fix the mic because the cat knocked it over. My phone is ringing. Just letting me know, and I just did that. Okay, cool. Everything is going according to plan, somewhat, anyway. And everything is not up like it should be, and where is everything? Boom. There we go. Hello. Anyway. Yes, my thing decided to say poopity poop. Is okay, so yeah, my stream is still being poop, but there's not much going on, so let's just get to it. I decided to read another sound effect called "The Scream" by Equimorto. Equimorto. I believe that's the name. And unlike multiple times, this one I actually read through. And it's an interesting read. But before I get started, I just want to a little bit of announcement. I am doing a casting call for one of the fic I plan on reading. Just need voices for pretty much the Cutie Marks the Crusaders. And you could find that link to that video down below, and all the information will be in the description in that link down below. And without further ado, let's just get down to it and not waste any more time. Why did I do that? Okay, there we go. Now to bring up this chat right here. Make it a little bit like show. That way I can read what's going on here. Now let's see if I can read it well for the one shot. Okay. The first thing Twilight knew when she woke up that she was dead. It was a cold winter night, and the moonlight entered the room through the window, casting its silver glow over the wooden surface of the library. The stars shone outside, and the gentle breeze blew through the streets, ruffling the leaves of Twilight House. It hadn't snowed yet, but it would soon, or so the weather team had said. The second thing Twilight knew, she was alive. Her body was at least breathing, still warm, no sign of harm, and perfectly normal unicorn, peacefully sleeping, curled up in her blanket. She looked over at herself and brought her a hoof to her body temple, still feeling the pulse there. Okay, never mind. Yeah, I read it right. Okay, never mind. Leaving herself behind, she got off the bed, drifted down the stairs. Her steps soundless. She didn't breathe, but she didn't feel the need to. Her eyes could see perfectly well, even in the darkness. To be more precise, she couldn't actually see. She could, however, feel an odd knowledge of the world around her, and certainly of the way it was shaped. There was an odd sense of emptiness in her. She was dead, and the twilight seed left behind wasn't her. A heart attack? I don't know why I said that in a question. A heart attack. She knew it was like she knew it like she knew her name. Like she knew someone was like she knew someone was waiting for her just outside the door. Why Twilight had survived, though she had no idea. But she knew the scream would give her to take a little drink. But she knew the scream would give her the answer. I lost my way. Place, not way. You can't lose your way in the reading. You could lost your place in reading. You cannot lose your way unless you, I don't know. You lost your computer? I don't know. Anywho. Okay, okay. There was a no. That's a really from no. Oh wait. Okay. The scream, but she knew the scream would give her an answer. She knew it was called the scream, though not how she knew that. Though not how she knew it. Though not how she knew it. Is that though not sure how she knew it? Anyway, it was evident, but it was evident why. She could hear it hissing in her ears. It came from far away, muffled and distant, but somehow it was always there. No matter how loud the world around her, no matter how no matter how she tried to seal her ears, it was right there, right next to her, yet still so far away. It had always been there, even every day and night. From the day she'd been born, how had she never noticed it? How had she never noticed it? No matter. Now she knew, and the other Twilight didn't know. She slept undisturbed upstairs, and soon she'd get her answer. Just behind the door. The wind blew in the streets. The ponies slept in their homes, but there was something else there, waiting only for her to welcome it in. There she stood, in the center of her library, the door right in front of her, the scream right behind it. Just a few steps away. She didn't want to open the door. She was afraid. And she didn't know what Oh, she didn't know a what, but she didn't have a choice. And so the door opened, and she saw it. It stood there, waiting, only to welcome her in, and her soul fell into despair at the sight. Okay. It stood there, waiting, only welcome. It, it stood there, waiting, only to welcome her in, and her soul fell into despair at the sight. It vaguely looked like a pony, and she knew it was her. Or at least it had been at one point. At many points. Perhaps many her. Many her? Many her. Why I feel like there should be many of her. Okay, never mind. Let's continue on. Her many deaths. Clearly not all as kind to her appearance as a heart attack. It was screaming, clearly in pain. It was screaming. It was screaming. Okay. Ho ho, ha ha, hee hee, ha ha. Yes, that's how it will scream. You go ho ho, ha ha, hee hee. Anyway, it was screaming, clearly in pain. Wait. It was screaming, clearly. Okay. Anyway, it was screaming clearly, in pain, seemingly. It held a foreleg, inviting her in with its claw. Twilight asked it what it was, and Twilight asked it was it what. Twilight asked what it was. She knew, and Twilight asked it what it, and Twilight asked it what it was. Okay. And Twilight asked it what. I don't know why this feels weird. Made a wording. Oh well. And Twilight asked us what it was. Okay. She knew, but she didn't want to know. And she didn't want to hear it. But she asked because she knew what would come next to. She asked because she knew what would come next to, and didn't want that. Okay. And above its scream, the creature answered. And Twilight felt pain, and fear, and tears welling up in her eyes, and hate, for whatever it was had chosen to protect her, for whatever was there, at the end of her destiny, pulling her own with its string. And Twilight wished to scream, though she did not wish to join the creature. And the scream held up its claw, and asked Twilight to join it. And Twilight wished to refuse. And Twilight lifted her hoof to touch the creature. And Twilight wished to refuse. And Twilight lifted her hoof and touched the creature that was Okay. Wow, why can't I read today? Probably because it's 11 o'clock at night. Okay. And Twilight was to refuse, and Twilight lifted her hoof and touched the creature. That was the many deaths he had been spared. And Twilight broke her neck after falling from a chair. And Twilight drowned in a lake, and she sneaked away to swim during a vacation. Twilight's heart stopped on a cold winter night, and Twilight had chattered under a falling rock. Twilight frozen to death after getting lost in the snow, and Twilight was bit by a snake and killed by its poison. Twilight choked on a piece of toy she swallowed. Twilight bled out from a wound from her Twilight bled out from her wound and passed away. Twilight body crushed on the ground after a fall from a cloud, leaving behind a red stain on the ground. Twilight came stillborn into the world, accompanied by her parents' cries. By the cries of her parent. Twilight crushed by a cold stone after mistakenly teleporting inside a mountain. Yeah, that's a good. So this is like 1,000 ways to die. It kind of feels that way. Twilight burned under a dragon fire. Twilight body was torn apart by Timberwolf. Twilight fell in the lake, and ice under her hooves shattered, and weight of her saddlebag carried her down below. Dark. Twilight was crushed under her Hydra's leg. Twilight body was torn in half by crocodile jaws. Twilight sense was hit by a spell. She attempted to dodge, and her heart blew up inside her. Okay. Twilight lung filled with ash as she struggled to crawl away from the fire. Twilight fell to the ground as her hooves gave out before her. Her body too weak to carry on. Twilight choked on her own tongue. Okay. Twilight choked on her own tongue as her body seized up, and her throat, mouth, face, cheek, and other part of her became swollen. Twilight fell on a piece of grass, slashed her throat, and Twilight screamed. And Twilight woke up on a cold winter morning, ready to go out about her day. And though the scream followed her, she did not hear it. She never would hear it, until it was time for her to join it, and leave herself behind to march on towards her future. Okay. That was actually fairly short, and I thought that would take a little bit longer to read. Okay. Well, I found that a little bit interesting, and a little bit of creepy pasta-like, I guess. And also, when reading it, I'm reminded of the episode 1,000 Ways to Die. Anywho, now it's pretty much us rambling on. And I guess since I should have probably wrote like multiple fic readings. But I did not, for I'm a dumbass, so yeah. I will just leave it here, and maybe the next time I do that, I will have multiple things set up. That way, I have multiple stories, and I will put all the, and then I do that, and I will pretty much do the same thing I always do, put everything in the description where all the stories will be found. Until then, I'll bid everybody a good night, because that's rambling, and that, and then rambling on. Like I said, I have a casting call for a fic called The Field of Screams, which is just ironic when I realized I'm reading a story called The Scream. So that's also down below. You could check that out. Look at the information. You want to try auditioning, go for it. And also, let me know how I did. Would always like to see if I approve or not. Anywho, and that way, I'm gonna stop rambling on, and see you in the next stream.